Started. Hey, everybody. Sunday afternoon, different time to do a live stream. I just got back from New York, actually, where I did an interview. Some of you that follow me on Instagram know who I interviewed. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at rickbeato1. The discount code for today's live stream is MEGA, MEGA, because we're doing a 3-day mega sale. 65% off the Beato book bundle, 45% off my ear training course, and 45% off my Quick Lessons Pro guitar course, which is 5 hours of guitar videos, guitar-based videos, based on, a lot on my quick lessons. I mean, that's off of Instagram, actually. And I've done put some of them on YouTube Shorts as well. And the ear training course is a video course and a browser-based ear training app. So, okay, so this title, Will Rock Music Ever Come Back? This is one of the kind of things that I love to talk about with my friends. I was talking to a couple friends of mine in New York this past week, and we were talking about this exact subject. And I took notes, okay? These are kind of things that we agreed upon, these friends of mine that we agreed upon. That's the issue with rock music right now. And these guys have worked with some big records, some big rock records that have sold millions of copies. Okay. Here's some of the things. The last big rock star, real big rock star, was Dave Grohl. Okay, Dave Grohl's in his 50s. Yes, some of the stuff can apply to Avenged Sevenfold, Sinister Gates, but the Dave Grohl is on, in big magazines, things like that. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, this is a different level of fame. Dave Grohl's been famous since the early 90s, since Nirvana, since 1991. Okay, this is a massively big, Dave Grohl is basically the standard bearer for rock music nowadays, and he's in his late 50s or mid 50s, okay? There hasn't been a rock guitar hero since Sinister Gates from Avenged Sevenfold, but really other than that, other than solos from Avenged Sevenfold songs, the solos on really big songs that were at the top of the charts, I can think of the solo to Higher by Creed, okay? So we're going back then. That record came out, I think, 2001, the second Creed record. There's an obvious solo in that. There's a solo in Arms Wide Open, I believe. These were huge solos, right, that people knew and they could sing along with. But before that, we essentially have to go back. There's very few, there's almost no guitar solos in nu metal songs at all. None. Guitar solos stopped with grunge. People knew Kurt Cobain guitar solos or Pearl Jam guitar solos. People knew the guitar solos from Alive, Pearl Jam's first record. That came out 31 years ago, okay? Rock stars stopped being cool. That's another thing. I asked my son Dylan if he ever heard of Dave Grohl. He said no. Who's that? He has no idea who Dave Grohl is. No idea. Now, this isn't necessarily about it's not just that there's not new rock bands, and a lot of the old rock bands are still touring. Paul McCartney, who's 80 years old or close to 80, just announced a tour. The Rolling Stones is out touring. The old rock bands never retire. The Foo Fighters still tour. I mean, they just don't retire. It doesn't matter how old they are. I mean, some retire, but very few do. Rock, we just looked this up about search traffic on Google for rock music. This is really interesting. Rock versus, check this out. This is over the past 12 months. Rock music, hip hop, and country music for comparison. Rock music is way, way, way down at the bottom here. Not even close to hip hop, and frankly, not even close to country music. So there you go. That just tells you the interest, the level of interest in rock music. Now, there's a big movement of progressive metal out there, but that tends to be without vocals. Some bands have vocals, like Periphery has vocals, but Periphery has 300 and some odd thousand followers on Spotify. Of all the metal bands, the progressive metal bands, Billy told me that Dream Theater has 1.4 million monthly listeners, which is, it's not big. And Dream Theater's been around for 30 some odd years anyway, since the 80s, And Gojira has over 1 million, but they've been around forever. I mean, really, the bands that have over 1 million followers, Polyphia has 691,000. And one of the problems with the music is that that's just guitar based. It's not song based. There's no hooks, right? There's no lead singers that have hooks. There's no Van Halen with hit songs, Running with the Devil and all the, things that, somebody said Tool on here, but Tool has been around for, how many years has Tool been around, Billy? 25?
Oh my God.
25 years. We can't count bands that have been around for 25 years. We can't count Radiohead. I see Radiohead in here that's been around since 1993. These are old bands.
30 years.
30 years. Okay. I just looked at a chart that said that over 73% of U.S. market is now claimed by catalog records rather than new releases. This is out on musicbusinessworld.com. Just came out a couple weeks ago. 73% are catalog records, which explains why bands like Queen, Nirvana are massively big still. These heritage acts, right? Queen, which has been around since the 70s. Nirvana, which put out their first record in 1991. Somebody says, what about Greta Van Fleet? Well, Greta Van Fleet is not a big band. They're just not a big band. Somebody says Arctic Monkeys. Arctic Monkeys have been around forever at this point. One of my friends that I was at dinner said all the good riffs have already been used. All the good riffs and chord progressions have been used. And that's a very interesting thing. I said, well, what about things that people have forgotten? He said, no, because all those, the AC/DC riffs, everybody knows all those songs, right? So you can't, you just can't compare those. People know these things. Yeah, and I see Kill Switch Engage. I see some other groups in here, but there's just no comparison in size with the people like Ed Sheeran and Billie Eilish and everything. I mean, when Nirvana was big, they had the #1 selling record. They went past Michael Jackson in November of 1991. They had the #1 selling album. They had massive hit songs that were worldwide hits. I mean, frankly, Linkin Park did too. Worldwide hits in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? Another thing, the merging of hip hop and rap in rock music already happened a generation ago. From Rage Against the Machine to Linkin Park, bands adding DJs, Korn. Bands have already had DJs. Bands have already had rapping. That has already been gone for a generation. I mean, if you went even, let's talk about hip hop for a second. The Super Bowl, right? So the Super Bowl had Eminem, 49 years old, Snoop Dogg, 50, Dr. Dre, 57, 50 Cent, 46. Kendrick Lamar, the youngster, 34. And Mary J. Blige, 51 on it. Well, every artist there other than Mary J. Blige was one of Snoop Dogg, or one of Dr. Dre's people that he signed. This is basically all Dr. Dre artists, right? Dr. Dre signed Eminem, signed Snoop Dogg, right, Billy?
He did produce Mary J. Blige's.
Oh, he did produce. Okay, so basically everything on here was Dr. Dre, was Dr. Dre related. Okay, and these are all artists from more than a generation ago, except for Kendrick Lamar. The biggest stars are in pop music. We know that. All the young people that are big stars, from Billie Eilish to Ed Sheeran to Taylor Swift to most of the stuff that's on the charts are young people, right? When I talk about heritage bands, I left off Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin gets streamed a lot. I mean, huge, right? Still, people can go back and listen to these things. Right now, because of streaming, it doesn't matter. There's an equality with these formats where it's like, well, people don't need to listen to current rock bands because they can go and listen to Led Zeppelin. Okay? So TV shows like Cobra Kai and Stranger Things use 80s music. They use catalog music because they want to appeal to kids like my kids and us me that watches these things and likes 80s music, right? So they hit the parents with 80s music that they know, and they hit kids with these songs, and the kids get to know these songs from the 80s, and they know them better. My kids know 80s songs way better than current songs. Another thing. Let me I have to do my plug for my sale again for the people that just joined us. It's a mega sale. MEGA is the discount code. 65% off my Beato book. Transcription bundle, which is 700-page PDF. Type in the discount code MEGA. It's a 3-day sale. If you want to get it and learn about music theory, that's where you go. If you want to learn about ear training, learn how to figure out songs in 2 seconds, check out my ear training course, my Beato ear training. You can find those all through my website, and my quick lessons guitar course, which is based on my Instagram channel, which you should follow at Rick Beato 1. I get about, 10 million views a month a week maybe. A lot on Instagram, maybe every couple weeks I get about that many on Instagram. About as many as my videos on Instagram do, about as well as my videos on YouTube do. Which is pretty good. It's cool. Which I greatly appreciate, the people that follow me on here, that follow me on Instagram. Less people want to learn instruments. I know this from my friends that are teachers. Kids don't want to learn to play instruments. And I will say this, that DJs can fill up arenas, no problem. Diplo, people like that, they can get an audience going crazy just like a rock band can. You don't need to learn how to play an instrument, right? You got to play the turntables. That's it. That is an instrument. It's a legit instrument. But it's not the same kind of thing as learning the guitar. It takes a while to really get good on the guitar. And the next thing is that you are competing. This is really the biggest thing. You're competing for kids' attention with video games. That is a hard thing, because that is something that I think all music, I don't think that just rock music is competing for the attention of kids. I think all music is competing with video games for the attention of kids. With the attention of new music, old music, just with the attention for music in general. Somebody says during the pandemic, guitars, had their highest sales. Well, I would say that those, in the last 2 years, all these sales where all these guitar companies are 2 years back ordered, it's all older people that are never learned how to play an instrument. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just guessing, because I don't really know any kids that have bought instruments, or their parents have bought them instruments that they started practicing during this and have learned how to play. I mean, maybe you guys have. Maybe I just don't know. But I talked to all my kids' friends, and none of their kids have learned how to play any instruments. None of Dylan's friends, if they play, Dylan plays in the school band, but that's about it. He's not playing anything. My daughter Layla's playing drums, so she's doing that, but that's because we have drums. There are no stars to imitate. Okay, there's no rock stars to imitate anymore. Who are they going to imitate? People changed their wardrobe when grunge happened. People imitated Kurt Cobain. They don't. Who are people going to imitate? Dave Grohl? No offense to Dave Grohl, but no kids are going to want to be Dave Grohl, right? I don't think. I don't know any kids that know who Dave Grohl is. I'm around kids all the time. That used to be when I learned guitar, I pretended I was Jimi Hendrix when I was playing a Jimi Hendrix solo. I pretended I was Jimmy Page when I was playing a Jimmy Page solo. I play along with the records. Oh my God, that was the most incredible thing, playing along with the records. I still play along with records. I put out posts. I did a thing where I played with the Peter Frampton solo that I posted here. But I mean, one of my biggest videos is my top 20 rock guitar solos video. All the solos were from before 1981. Somebody said Billie Eilish on here. Billie Eilish is a rock star. I agree with that. I watched Billie Eilish and her brother playing on Howard Stern from 2019, and they're doing a duet, piano and voice. And it's fantastic. It's really good. Her singing is great, and his piano playing is excellent. It just is. Any people on here, old people that don't like Billie Eilish is talented, and her brother is really talented. They are excellent musicians. And they don't need auto-tune or anything, and they don't need to fix their stuff. His time was great, and he didn't have any flub notes or anything, right? I think the auto-tune and beat quantization have taken the feel out of rock music, so it doesn't have the same kind of energy that it had, and this started happening. Most of the bands that I would produce back in the past 20 years or so, they would play with click tracks live. They wouldn't be playing with backing tracks. They'd play with click tracks. The drummers didn't want to be off time. They wanted to play the songs at the right tempo, and they'd play with them. And that just takes all the energy out of music, I think. Even if you're not playing with backing tracks, which I think is terrible. I realize that people play with backing tracks and everything, but I think it's, I don't know, just hire players to play the stuff, or just learn how to make your arrangements, without them. When I interviewed Peter Frampton, for those of you that are my age and know Peter Frampton, he had a song, Lines in My Face, that's on Frampton Comes Alive, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. And the version that's on the actual recording is an acoustic song with a totally different thing. And I asked him when I interviewed him, I said, hey, what about that song? Why did you change your arrangement? He said, oh, well, we had an electric arrangement and an acoustic arrangement. And the electric arrangement had a completely different guitar part. Different intro, different everything. Nothing alike. Somebody just put in a super chat here that I want to address because it's kind of related. He says, what about the influx of technical bedroom Instagram musicians? Amazing players don't seem to be in bands or playing live. Technique doesn't seem to be the problem. That's true. That's exactly what I'm talking about. People that can play, but they're not in bands and they don't write songs. But they're great players. Some of the best players that have ever lived are out there. Well, at least best bedroom players, or at least the 1 minute of playing that they can do is some of the best. What method of timing would you suggest, since a straight beat takes the heart out of it? Playing with other people. That's what I would suggest. Let's see here. The super chat. Please rate my guitar solo, Rick Karma. Okay. I don't really rate guitar solos. Let's see here. Liam O'Brien. I think that while rock may not enter mainstream renaissance for a while, Renaissance! Music tastes are more individualistic than ever. I totally agree with that. I feel that rock will live because while it's not as popular, enough people will seek it out. Okay. Yeah. Um, and people can paste in things. Listen to The Warning. The Warning's an excellent band, three-piece band, female band from Mexico, but they're not a massively big band. My friend David produced their record. Tame Impala is another great new band. Tame Impala is not a new band. They are not a new band. They are not even close to being new. Let's see here. Most artists cannot write a song without a producer or other writers involved. Now, that may just be that that the labels won't put anything out that's not co-written by them, you know. Most of the songs that use electric guitar, like this A B C D E F U song, sound so overproduced. I mean, there's nothing that is organic about that song. I forget who the artist is, Gal. That is so produced. Everything, when it goes into the chorus, everything about that is unbelievably, just. I mean, I don't know how many writers are on it, but I know the girl says that she got the idea from somewhere, and then somebody said, well, she got the idea from some executive at Atlantic Records, whatever. It sounds like 20 people wrote the song to me. Let's see here. I think that's pretty much, once again, auto-tune takes the soul out of it. That you don't find rock bands that are based on blues, rock music based on blues. Historically, all the biggest rock music was still based in blues. Led Zeppelin, Adele, massive singer, right? Adele, her stuff is all based in blues. People are like, why does Adele sell 10 million records when no one else can? Well, because she's a blues singer, basically, right? The sale discount code MEGA MEGA 65% off my Beato book transcription, Instagram transcription bundle, 700-page PDF, 65% off. That's my biggest sale that I do. 45% off the ear training course, 45% off my Beato quick lessons program. If you want to not only learn something, but you help support the channel and enable me to do things like I've been doing, going and doing these interviews with people that I pay for out of my own pocket to hire a film crew. I have an interview with a famous guitar player coming out this week that I just went and filmed that I got back from today. Okay, and there's I see a comment here that's honestly one of the most important things. But beyond kids' attention span getting sucked up by video games, that I think is the biggest thing. It's not that people don't like these things. It's just that kids are just hypnotized by these things. They're so addictive. Oh my God, they're just so addictive. Every parent I talk to, it doesn't matter how old they are, that's all they talk about is how much their kids play video games, unless their parents keep them from doing it. But Mace says in the comments here, does every trend die? Every trend does die. Everything does die, right? Because that is really, all genres of music eventually die. We had the Renaissance era. I did a video on John Dowland that you should check out. Some people say John Dowland, but you should check out my video on him. I did talked about a piece called the Earl of Essex Gallard that he wrote. I played a version of Julian Bream. Just watch the video. It's a beautiful Renaissance piece. But the Renaissance era died out, and the Baroque era was born. Then the Baroque era died out, and the classical era was born. And then the classical era died out around 1830 or so. And then the Romantic era came in. And then the Romantic era went out of fashion. And you have the Impressionistic era. Then you had the 20th century music. I guess that was part of that. And then you had kind of post-modern music or whatever you would call it here, right? So no one went back and wrote fugues again. They really didn't. I mean, Beethoven wrote a fugue. I mean, people occasionally would write these things, but nobody's going back and writing fugues. Nobody's writing music like Bach. The main reason is because they can't. Because nobody could write anything like Bach. He pretty much did everything. I feel bad for people that were around back then, even though Bach wasn't known during his lifetime. The people that did know him must have been like, oh, God, what are we going to do? Have you heard Bach? Have you seen him? Oh, my God. Yeah, I went to the Mass last weekend. It was ridiculous. You should have heard his improv on this. I mean, I wonder if people actually said that. They said it in German. Aaron, you think people would talk like that back in the early 1700s? They were speaking in German and saying, I mean, were they talking? And that he's improvising there, and they're playing these pieces every week. I wonder if if anyone was saying in these churches, wow, man, did you hear that? Check out those changes. Or they're probably saying, what is it with all this music? Too many notes.
Chris Sigmund has a great super chat up there.
Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Chris Sigmund. Let's see. I'm a middle school band teacher. The music we play for fun as the kids is not very relevant to other. Wait. The music we play is fun for the kids, but not very relevant to other music kids listen to. How would you change music education to make it more engaging and relevant to this generation? Well, so much music nowadays is based on production. That's the thing. It's not based on playing instruments. It's not like you can say, hey, let's learn the new Nirvana song, but on our French horn or whatever, Let's do an arrangement of Come As You Are with the band or anything like that. I mean, what are you going to do? An arrangement of a Cardi B song or something? You have to have some type of melody and harmony to do. I mean, you can take a melody of a song and make a band arrangement out of it. But the publishers probably are not doing a good job, Chris, in engaging young kids with contemporary music. Maybe you have somebody that can do a rap over a student that does a rap on a concert band chart or something. I don't know. Maybe it could be something like that. Does that sound weird, Billy? Like a weird idea or what? Mark Wise Techno. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. It's not that there are no rock bands around. There obviously are rock bands. There definitely are rock bands around. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying rock can never come back, but these are the impediments that I see for rock bands. Okay. I have a show coming up. I'm just going to plug my show that's coming up on the 16th of March. Tickets are almost sold out. There's only a few left. I would love to meet you guys. And you probably saw my announcement video about it. It's at the Gramercy Theater in New York City. I'm going to do a live show. I'm not taping it, and I'm not putting it up on YouTube. So I'm trying this out just to kind of see what this is all about. I got offered the gig by Live Nation, and I think it sounds like a really great idea, and I'm really excited about it. I have a couple of special guests that you will know for those of you that come to the show. That is a secret, and that's it. So discount code MEGA. It's 65% off my Beato book bundle, my ear training course, and my Quick Lessons Pro guitar course. And if you don't play an instrument, you want to donate to the channel to help with these interviews and things like that, you can always just there's a donation link that's in the description below as well. You guys are the best. I mean, I'm humbled at the success of the channel over these 5.5 years. And, the video I just did, the Renaissance video, was a cool video. So check it out when you get a chance. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care.